Thank you for joining us for St. Petersburg Library System's National Native American Heritage Month. Here you will find adult book recommendations. A Mind Spread Out on the Ground by Alicia Elliott. The Mohawk phrase for depression can be roughly translated to a mind spread out on the ground. In this urgent and visceral work, Alicia Elliott explores how apt a description that is for the ongoing effects of personal, intergenerational, and colonial traumas that she and so many Native people have experienced. Throughout, she makes thrilling connections, both large and small, between the past and present, the personal and political. Bad Indians, a tribal memoir by Deborah A. Miranda. This beautiful and devastating book, part tribal history, part lyric and intimate memoir, should be required reading for anyone seeking to learn about California Indian history, past and present. This is a work of literary art that is wise, angry, and playful all at once, a compilation that will break your heart and teach you to see the world anew. Braiding Sweetgrass, Indigenous Wisdom, Scientific Knowledge, and the Teachings of Plants by Robin Wall Kimmerer. Drawing on her life as an Indigenous scientist and as a woman, Kimmerer shows how other living beings offer us gifts and lessons, even if we've forgotten how to hear their voices. In reflections that range from the creation of Turtle Island to the forces that threaten its flourishing today, she circles toward a central argument: that the awakening of ecological consciousness requires the acknowledgement and celebration of our reciprocal relationship with the rest of the living world. Cheyenne Madonna by Eddie Chocolate. Eddie Chocolate's prize-winning collection of linked short stories follows Jordan Coolwater, from bored young boy to thoughtful teenager, struggling artist, escaped convict, and finally father. Readers will find an unsentimental portrait of America, of its dispossessed, its outlaws, and its visionaries. Crooked Hallelujah by Kelly Jo Ford. Crooked Hallelujah tells the story of Justine, a mixed-blood Cherokee woman, and her daughter Renee, as they move from eastern Oklahoma's Indian country in the hopes of starting a new, more stable life in Texas amid the oil bust of the 1980s. Against the vivid backdrop of the Red River, we see their struggle to survive in a world intent on stripping away their connections to one another and their very ideas of home. In lush and empathetic prose, Kelly Jo Ford depicts what this family of proud, stubborn Cherokee women sacrifice for those they love amid larger forces of history, religion, class, and culture. Housemaid of Dawn by N. Scott Momaday. A young Native American, Abel has come home from war to find himself caught between two worlds. The first is the world of his fathers, wedding him to the rhythm of the seasons, the harsh beauty of the land, and the ancient rites and traditions of his people. But the other world, modern industrial America, pulls at Abel, demanding his loyalty, trying to claim his soul, and goading him into a destructive, compulsive cycle of depravity and disgust. An American classic, Housemaid of Dawn, is at once a tragic tale about the disabling effects of war and cultural separation, and a hopeful story of a stranger in his native land finding his way back to all that is familiar and sacred. Our History is the Future, Standing Rock versus the Dakota Access Pipeline and the Long Tradition of Indigenous Resistance by Nick Estes. In 2016, a small protest encampment at the Standing Rock Reservation in North Dakota, initially established to block construction of the Dakota Access Oil Pipeline, grew to be the largest indigenous protest movement in the 21st century. Water protectors knew this battle for native sovereignty had already been fought many times before, and that, even after the encampment was gone, their anti-colonial struggle would continue. Postcolonial Love Poem by Natalie Diaz. Postcolonial Love Poem is an anthem of desire against erasure. Natalie Diaz's brilliant second collection demands that every body carried in its pages be touched and held as beloveds. Through these poems, the wounds inflicted by America onto an indigenous people are allowed to bloom pleasure and tenderness. Pushing the Bear, a novel of the Trail of Tears by Diane Glancy. In a novel that retains the complexity, immediacy, and indirection of a poem, Glancy brings to life the Cherokees' 900-mile forced removal to Oklahoma in 1838 and gives us a powerful witness to one of the most shameful episodes in American history. The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. From New York Times bestselling author Stephen Graham Jones comes a novel that is equal parts psychological horror and cutting social commentary on identity politics and the American Indian experience. Fans of Jordan Peele and Tommy Orange will love this story as it follows the lives of 4 American Indian men and their families, all haunted by a disturbing, deadly event that took place in their youth. This Town Sleeps by Dennis E. Staples. On an Ojibwe reservation called Langwell Lake in northern Minnesota, within the small town of Gesick at the hub of the res, 2 men enter into a secret romance. Marion Lafournier, a mid-20s gay Ojibwe man, begins a relationship with his former classmate Shannon, a heavily closeted white man. While Marion is far more open about his sexuality, neither is immune to the realities of the lives of gay men in small towns and closed societies. Trail of Lightning by Rebecca Roanhorse. Maggie Hosky is a Dainita monster hunter, a supernaturally gifted killer. When a small town needs help finding a missing girl, Maggie is their last best hope. But what Maggie uncovers about the monster is much more terrifying than anything she could imagine. Maggie reluctantly enlists the aid of Kai Arviso, an unconventional medicine man, and together they travel the res, unraveling clues from the ancient legends, trading favors with tricksters, and battling dark witchcraft in a patchwork world of deteriorating technology. As Maggie discovers the truth behind the killings, she will have to confront her past if she wants to survive. Winter Counts by David Heska Wanbley Wyden. Virgil Wounded Horse is the local enforcer on the Rosebud Indian Reservation in South Dakota. When justice is denied by the American legal system or the tribal council, Virgil is hired to deliver his own punishment, the kind that's hard to forget. But when heroin makes its way into the reservation and finds Virgil's nephew, his vigilantism suddenly becomes personal. He enlists the help of his ex-girlfriend and sets out to learn where the drugs are coming from and how to make them stop. We hope you explore and enjoy these titles. Happy National Native American Heritage Month!